What is up, everybody? Solomon here. Super excited to be interviewing multitudes of projects across Web3 with Infinity. Today, we're going to be diving deep into LUKSO with family. Let's get going. Well, we have family with us here today from LUKSO. We have one of the founders, which is James. James, how are you doing this morning? I always like to start these out with a little bit of an introduction. So tell us a little bit about yourself and love to hear your journey, and then we'll get deeper into the weeds with all things family and LUKSO.
No, I love it. Thanks for having me, Ryan, in this space. Doing well. Currently in the Philippines right now, visiting some uncles and aunties for the birthday. But yeah, I started family 4 years ago. I was deep into engineering back in my uni days, but I had a passion for streetwear, fashion, reselling back in the days, earning a few dollars here and there. And I saw a massive gap in the industry, especially merging technology and fashion. I'm a massive gaming nerd, so I saw a gap between bringing the physical aspect of things into the digital world. Um, you know, Getting like skins into games and stuff like that. So yeah, slowly been building family now. 4 years coming up. So yeah.
That's awesome. And I'm assuming so you mentioned university and engineering, and that's a pretty heavy shift from engineering into like Web3 and, kind of entrepreneurship. So what kind of led you to make that decision to kind of pivot into building within blockchain?
Yeah, it's a massive shift. I think it goes back to my early days. I think I've always had a business mind. Back when I was young, I remember when I was 6, 7 years old, I was the only one in my village that had a bike, and I would rent that bike out to different kids. 5 pesos here and there, you can ride my bike. And I think I took engineering to follow my dad's footsteps. He was also a mechanical engineer back in the Philippines, here in the Philippines, and I thought that could be my path, my career path. But during my last few years of my degree, I just didn't have it in me anymore. So I decided to shift into business. And like I said before, I was really into reselling and streetwear and stuff like that. And I felt like I had the experience, especially on the ground experience, lining up for a few nights just to earn, $100, $200 to subsidize my living, right? And I think what engineering has really taught me is the technical aspect of things. Reading this technical standards, especially from the smart contract side of things, has really helped me out with that.
That's awesome. Give us just like a broad overview. We're definitely going to get a little bit more into the weeds with all things family, but tell us a little bit about what you are building so that we can kind of inform and educate our audience here.
I love that. Yeah. So a quick overview about family is that, we're a digital brand. We try to merge the physical aspect and also the digital aspect, where we do that by using technology such as, NFC chips, LUKSO new standards. And the way we do that is that we've embedded these NFC chips on our products. And then that way you can add further utilities such as provenance, royalties, and you can't achieve that without the digital side, right? And that's why we're building in this space, in this industry of blockchain, is because that's the only way we can do that. And it goes back to what I said before, is that bringing the physical aspect into the digital world is blockchain, right? And we're building on LUKSOs because those standards right now is the only way we can achieve that.
Yep. And you mentioned your interest in streetwear, brands like Supreme, Bape. How has, the passion that you have had for kind of streetwear and clothing and brands like influence the ethos of what you're building with family?
I think, yeah, during my experience, I think what it's really taught me is the power of counterculture. I think streetwear really took off because people were really into suits, like very professional. And I think streetwear took off because it was laid back, very casual. I think that's the kind of ethos in crypto in this industry right now, right? Like we're against suits and all this kind of stuff. And the way we've done that with families, that right now, especially in societies, that we're very, especially in the Western side, Western, countries, that we're very individual. I think I want to bring in more of the Eastern philosophy of family values and stuff like that. And I think, I think that's one of the biggest things that we want to really put out to societies, that, family is super important, right? The brand is just not a name, but it's something that I really want to, you know, especially to my kids, to my, cousins, nephews, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I guess a little bit of a sidebar for me too is like, does your family, whenever they see all the stuff that you're building in blockchain and DLT, because I think one of the things that's always difficult to do is like my family will ask, "What do you do?" Like, but especially with like the younger generations and things like that, it's got to be a little bit inspiring for them to kind of see somebody going out and trying to build within like this new technology. Like, do you see that within your family with, whether you have nephews or cousins or things like that? Do they ask James, what are you doing in this space? It's really cool. Tell us about the technology. Does that happen to you?
I, I see it with my nephew, man. He just turned 10 years old, and super smart kid. Freaking switched on as, and he just keeps asking me all these questions. Oh, what does blockchain do? What does NFTs? I think these guys grew up around gaming, and I think they understand it, right? I think um, they understand, but I gotta use kind of specific language because they don't really understand smart contracts on all this kind of stuff, right? But yeah, they're very open-minded, man. I think the way I envision it is that these are the people that are going to be mainly using it, especially in a few years' time, where they enter the job market, where they become teenagers, they become young adults. I think they're going to be the ones that's going to be utilizing this technology the most.
Yeah, 100%. I'm curious, looking at the focus of what's being built on Luxo, it is very much so, surrounding culture and surrounding user experience. Can you touch base on what attracted you to build family on Luxo? There's so many different chains out there. What uniquely does Luxo give you guys the ability to do with family? And I guess when you look at what other ecosystems would have offered, why did you choose Luxo?
Right. So I think I should start off with that. Actually started off at Phantom. I started off what's blockchain, NFTs, and all that kind of stuff, and it led me to Phantom, which is actually kind of fortunate because it gave me a bit of overview about DeFi. They're mainly about focus on DeFi side of things, and then yeah, especially for what I was building about brands, Phygitals. I felt like I was a black sheep in the community, and one of the community members, Tomb Heads, I'm not sure if you know him on Twitter, he mentioned LUKSO. You should look up LUKSO. Fabian Vercastella is the one leading it. I read the white paper. I remember it's like 1 a.m. at night. I just had that light bulb moment. They're talking about, Phygitals culture, where society, I felt like, yeah, it's just related to what I was building, right? And I think the technology really came afterwards. I started dabbling into the new LSPs, the new smart contracts that they were building, and how we could onboard, normal people like my parents, my cousins, my nephews, because what they've done is they've eased the onboardment of the technology. They've abstracted away the technology where blockchain doesn't need to be the main point of view. It's supposed to be the brands or the people that should be the focal point instead of the actual technology, right? And I think that just it makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, and we had Fabian on a cross-chain panel a month or so ago with like some extremely, amazing individuals and a lot of builders across a lot of ecosystems. And it was the interview we were doing, and then he stuck around for that cross-chain portion. And I love hearing from builders and I love the technical stuff, but when you think about mass adoption, like I asked Fabian's viewpoint like 30 minutes into that space, and he came in and he's like, all of this is great, but not a lot of people are going to really care about this when it comes to mass adoption. Like they just care that it works, that it's running, that they can do cool things. And I think that's sometimes we think about all this technical stuff, and just like when you think about onboarding of the masses, it just has to work, and they have to be able to do cool stuff. And there have to be standards and an infrastructure in place to allow for that. This kind of leads me to your kind of viewpoint on what's going to be possible in the future with LUKSO, with the interoperability of digital assets, and how you think that potentially may shape the landscape of gaming and of fashion and of culture. Can you maybe touch base on that interoperable kind of aspect with digital assets and what you envision kind of happening in the future with LUKSO?
Right. I think this goes back to what I said about, I wanted to, especially for brands like us, that we want to bring the physical product to the digital world. And right now it's really, most of it's done off chain, especially trying to put in different assets into one product. What I mean by that is that, it should be one NFT holding different digital skins, digital assets, digital products. But right now, before, it wasn't possible before LUKSO, right? And I think, especially with the new LSP8, which is we've coined as the NFT 2.0, we're able to attach unlimited metadata, right? And then what that allows us to do is, allows us to add, for example, in Unreal Engine assets, Unity assets, all under one asset, right? And I think that's really key to all of this, because you don't want multiple NFTs for a single product. I think that's what's really missing in the space. I think people will slowly realize to what the technology the LUKSO team has provided. But I think that's one of the biggest things that we're very utilizing in our brand.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, even for myself, looking through, some of the documentation and everything else. When you think about tokenization and real world assets coming on chain, that's great, and that's certainly happening. But then, take it a step further, and you think about virtualization and what can you do with those real world assets once they're tokenized and on chain? What experiences can you kind of drive forward? All the other stuff that comes along with that is, I think, really the way that you are going to start seeing these brands interact with their communities in much more unique ways. And not only the brands interacting, the real kicker here is how can we all interact, on kind of a closer level, whether it's with each other or with the brands that we love, things like that. But you recently, doing a little bit of digging, launched your latest creation, which is how do I pronounce it? Is it HONFT, HON NFT, or HOF? It's HOF.
Half, half.
It's a unique name, right? So, I mean, I'd love if you could tell us a little bit more about it, and what we can expect from HOF. Actually, that's interesting too. Total sidebar. One of my buddies, like old school, like best friend, that's kind of like the nickname that we used to call him. But yeah, tell us a little bit about HOF.
Yeah, to us, we really took inspiration from different brands and big companies such as Apple. I think they have really good marketing strategies, such as the iPhone, putting the eye in front of the phone, but it creates such a unity around the product, right? And I think we've honed that into our ourselves, and what it pretty much means is that a hoodie plus an NFT, something very simple, but I think eventually down the line, I think it'll become catchy. And I think the way we've merged the two things together, like I said before, is that in all our products we'll be embedding an NFC chip, which is a way to add, the way we visualize it pretty much adds a soul to the physical product, right? And we do that by tokenizing the physical product into the digital world, using the latest standards that the LUKSO team has provided. And I think our first creation we just launched last week. We're going to be releasing a few advertisement on an Australian page coming next week. So I'm very excited about that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations on the launch. As far as like simplifying the user experience for adoption, I mean, I know that's one of the kind of key goals within LUKSO here, but I mean, from your standpoint, from family, how are you guys trying to make the user experience as simple as possible through what you're building?
Yeah, the way we see it, Ryan, is that, we don't want to force what we're building or what, especially the ethos or the concept of crypto, blockchain, and all that stuff down in people's throat. We want to meet people where they are. The way we do that is that we allow a simple email login and also a fiat solution to purchase our digital products, and then they can claim the NFT using the NFC chip, and the way that way they can enjoy the physical product without having to enter the space. And when they feel like they want to enter and dabble into what NFTs, blockchain is, they can claim it then, right? And I think that way you're not forcing people to go through these hurdles, hoops and hurdles to claim the NFT. And yeah, I think it's a way to especially onboard my parents that want to support me and want to wear my hoodies.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I'm curious, like, with the NFC chips, what, within your products, because you have your first kind of physical product aspect, but how does this, in your opinion, enhance consumer experience? And what role are they going to, NFC chips going to in the technology going to eventually play in the decentralized marketplace that you guys are kind of working towards?
One of the biggest things that I really learned during my reselling years, Ryan, is that you need to do like legit checks on if it's product's authentic, especially not just on the product but also the person selling that product, right? And that's one of the biggest reasons that we're building on LUKSO, is because they have universal profiles to not just verify the product but also verify the person selling that product. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we're utilizing. And going to what you said about our decentralized marketplace, is that the utilities such as provenance, royalties, that can't happen without the software, the infrastructure of the decentralized marketplace. And the NFC chip plays a part in that, is that the marketplace has a escrow system. So instead of trusting a person to be a middleman, you're trusting technology or the software, right? And I think the way we've designed is that you can release the escrow by scanning the NFC chip. So that means you don't need to trust the person saying it's legit. You can trust the technology, and it's a win-win situation. There's no one that can scam you. Everything's pretty much, just more efficient. That's the way I really see it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to watch. I mean, you still see people interacting with platforms like eBay and things like that when they want to purchase like, high fashion or brands and stuff like that, at least like on the secondhand standpoint. And there's like no way of authenticating that stuff at all. I mean, you're trusting a reputation score is based on like what eBay says is the reputation score of the seller. And it's like, I would much rather, like you said, kind of, we are going to get to the point of trusting the technology, the underlying technology, instead of having to trust, everything else. But I'm curious, because all of us in this space that are building always face challenges. I guess from your standpoint, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced so far in this space? How have you tried to overcome them? What type of suggestions would you give to other builders that are trying to come into this space, whether it's Web3 as a whole or building on LUKSO? Challenges and solutions, because I know that we are consistently facing challenges by trying to build out in this space.
Man, I think one of the biggest things that we're faced is that finding talent. It's also finding not just talent but finding genuine people, right? And I think there's a lot of, especially in this digital world, is people can forge LinkedIn's, GitHubs, they can gamify it, creating all this fake shit. And this is also one of the biggest reasons that we're building on LUKSO, because universal profiles allows especially creators or brand owners to see the reputation that they've built over time on chain. Something that's that's backed up by the blockchain. I think that will especially become more more important coming with AI down the line. We'll be seeing a lot more fake shit down the line, and we need something more, something tangible that we can trust, right? I think that's why we're building on LUKSO, and that's why we're we have super high conviction on the technology that they're building.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when you think about the masses coming into blockchain, which is going to happen obviously eventually. Where are they going to right now? They're going to the most web 2 platform possible, which is normally like Twitter and X, right? And then they go on to Twitter and X and they see, oh, this person's getting hundreds or thousands of likes, or this Twitter space has 8,000 people in it. But then you actually come to realize that somebody probably paid $20 to get 5,000 bots in post space, and it's like, how much is actually real here? I totally agree, and I think like the future of social and everything is also going to be on chain, where you actually have authenticity, and it's verified, and you're trusting the technology to authenticate what the engagement looks like, reputation looks like, all this other stuff. But I would love if you could maybe give us some forward-looking statements for family, for LUKSO. I guess maybe I start with, there was a big announcement out of the ecosystem last week with the $1 million kind of accelerator aspects for grants. Like, do you plan on submitting a grant for a grant? Yeah, just start with the grant aspect and then maybe work our way forward throughout the remainder of the year. What are you excited about coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, I love that. I think super excited. We're definitely going to be applying for the grant program. We're going to be giving a document about an education platform based on universal profiles, and also using the latest standards that they built. The way we've done that is that, especially, we're going to be targeting these younger generations who are used to gamified systems, right? And I think the way, especially the LSP8, like I mentioned before, is you're able to attach unlimited metadata and verify that on chain. That means each tier or each evolution of the NFT. That means if you, for example, if you progress to the next step, it's all verified on chain, right? And I think that's going to be super important, especially for the younger generations, because especially I see it here, Ryan, in the Philippines. There's not much opportunity in the local aspect, and there's a lot more people coming up, and where does all these people gonna go, right? Blockchain, the digital world. And I think we're going to be really catering to those people, especially in underprivileged continents such as Africa, Asia, South America. There's millions, if not, hundreds, if not millions of people that's undiscovered talent in these areas, and I think we really want to shine some light onto these areas, because I think they're missing out on, not us, not them, but I feel like the whole world is missing out on these people. There could be the new Steve Jobs, the new Virgil Abloh sitting on these local spaces because they don't have access to what we have now.
Yeah, and I've heard stories where, you think about accessibility. It'll be really interesting, how many people have phones versus how many people are unbanked. You know what I mean? There's tons of people that have cell phones, obviously, like billions. And then how many are tied into kind of, have the opportunity to participate in traditional financial systems, things like that. I've heard stories where even through gamification and blockchain, some of the, learn to, or some of the, not, the play to earn stuff or whatever it is, like, just people participating in blockchain through that in some of these underserved countries are making enough just through some of the gaming aspects to feed their families. This is like absolutely massive. So the evolution of the technology is certainly interesting. Tell us a little bit more. Where can we go to learn more about what you guys are building through family? Is it a website? Is it your guys' Twitter? Would love if you could maybe share with our audience here.
Yeah, you can visit us mainly on Twitter, at Family LYX. Also, you can search up our website, familylyx.com. We'll be mainly posting updates and also, what we have plans going on, mainly on Twitter. We also have Common Ground, but everything's mainly on Twitter. We also have a profile link similar to Linktree, which holds all our socials, all our NFT collections and whatnot. You can easily find it over there.
Awesome. Well, James, we certainly appreciate your time today. Go check out Family on LUKSO. For those of you guys not aware, we will be doing multiple interviews across the LUKSO ecosystem. James was happy enough to volunteer to be our first here, and we certainly appreciate your time today. Good luck with everything, and congratulations on the kind of inaugural launch, and looking forward to everything that you guys build in the future. Thank you so much for your time today, James.
Thanks, Ryan.